guys, Lori here. I'm here to do my September reading wrap-up. I was totally right. I definitely read less books this month, and some of them aren't even full novels. So I only wound up reading 7 books, but this was kind of a hectic month, especially this last week with Barnes & Noble Fest. I wound up getting really, really sick after the car trip home, so it's giving me a week to recover, so I just haven't been on the top of my game. That's why my videos have been late and why I didn't blog this much this week, because I'm trying to get healthy for New York City Comic Con. But I did wind up reading a bunch this month. I'm still reading Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I'm about a week behind on the official global reread, but I can hopefully make that up during train trips going back and forth into the city. I'm still reading Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, which I'm reading with Aloha Mora, and I'm still listening to City of Heavenly Fire. This week really took a lot out of me with the trip and all the other stuff that happened, so I definitely listened to less stuff, and I did read less. But I did make a pretty big dent in my September Comic-Con books, which was super exciting. I just hope to read a couple more books in October. So the first book that I finished reading was Replica by Lauren Oliver. I wound up giving this book 4 stars, and I do have a review on my channel if you guys want to check that out. I really enjoyed it. I think it was a really interesting way to craft a story, because you could read Gemma's story all the way through, or you can read Lyra's story, or you can do alternating chapters. I did alternating chapters and I really liked it. I really love the unexpected twist that this story brought, and I really, really am so excited for book 2. I do have an arc of that, and I hope to read it next month. I am going to put it on my TBR, and we'll see what happens. But overall, I was really impressed with it. When I read Lauren Oliver's Delirium series, it was not my favorite book, but I really liked this, and it made me eagerly anticipating to read book 2. So hopefully when I get there, I will give it a chance. But if you guys haven't checked out my review, please do that. But overall, I really liked it, and I gave it 4 stars. I reviewed was a nonfiction book, and I got this from one of the publishing houses, and it's With Ballet in My Soul, by a memoir by Ava Mays. This was definitely a nonfiction book, but I highly recommend it if you are a ballet person or like travel. Basically follows this young woman who, it basically gives you her life story. This was from Moonstone Press, and it follows her life story, and she has a bunch of different jobs. She's a ballet dancer, but her job path changes a bunch, and also it goes to a bunch of different countries. It's definitely historical fiction. I mean, historical fiction, but also like a biography, but I really liked it, and it has like a lot of like pictures, and it goes through her life and all the different places she left. But if you are a dancer, I think you'd really appreciate it, and I really enjoyed it as being a dance lover in college. It was just really, really made me smile, and I love seeing how strong she was as a character, not even a character, but as like a person, and all the life's journeys that she went on. So if you are a dancer or know a dancer, maybe pick this up for them for the holidays. It's called With Ballet in My Soul, Adventures of a Globetrotting Impresario, and I really liked it. I gave it 3 stars. The next book I read, I really enjoyed, and if you checked out my book haul, you saw that I actually got a finished copy of this one, but it is The Dreadful Tale of Prospero Redding by Alexandra Bracken. I love this book. I gave this book 5 stars. I really have loved everything that Alexandra Bracken has written. I loved her Darkest Mind series, and I was equally captivated by her Passenger series. But this was just such a fun read. I really, really loved it. It's the perfect creepy Halloween novel, but I loved how the creepy was okay for middle grade, and I just loved the main characters. I thought it was a very, very twisty, turny story, which was very, very hard to predict and shocked me. Kind of like a J.K. Rowling twist would do, and that is high praise for me, because J.K. Rowling twists are kind of hard to see, and I definitely did not see the twist coming in this book, but I really loved it. It put me in like a creepy atmosphere, and I really hope to read more creepy books in October, as you'll see in my TBR, but I really love this book. I love the other cover even more. It's just not near me, but this was such a fun book, and I really recommend you read it in October for Halloween, because I think that it would be a really, really fun novel, and I cannot wait for the second book in the series and to see how she concludes this duology. I'm pretty sure it's a duology. But definitely gave this 5 stars. Go check out my review, but it was a really, really creepy but fun read. The next book I read was the highly anticipated book by Stephanie Perkins, her horror adventure, There's Someone Inside Your House. I did say in my video, it wasn't my favorite. I thought that the structure of the novel was really unique, but it kind of jolted me off guard a little bit, and I'm not sure I love the structure, but hearing her talk about it, I like the structure in some ways, but I didn't like the structure in other ways. So I love some things about the structure of the book, but other things it just wasn't my favorite. I'm not a very big horror person to begin with, so I would get really emotionally connected to all the characters, and then they all would wind up being murdered. That's not a spoiler. It's a slasher book, so people do get murdered. But the way she structured it, I was like, no, don't die. And then they died. So, but I gave it 3 stars. I was really intrigued by the main character's plot line. Like, I like that, and I like the aftermath of it. It just wasn't my favorite book. This I actually wound up getting for a friend because she really wanted it signed. And I got Lola and the Boy Next Door signed for me because that is my favorite Stephanie Perkins book. But I gave it 3 stars. If you're a little bit hesitant, I would say maybe rent it from the library and see if you want to read it that way. But it definitely wasn't my favorite Stephanie Perkins book. But that's okay. Again, I'm not a big horror person, but I did read it and I did finish it, and it was okay. It was a fun, creepy read. Again, I was trying to get in the feel for Halloween, and this did it. So go check it out if you're in the mood for a horror fix. Just be prepared that the structure is a little bit unique. The next book that I read was one that I was highly anticipating, and that was One Dark Throne by Kendir Blake. I really wish I would have reread Three Dark Crowns because it took me like a good 40, 50 pages to really remember who all these characters were. But I really loved it. This book is going to a new home, but I will definitely be getting book 1 and book 2 on my Kindle because I really will need to reread these 2 books before I read book 3. It was so good. If you were hesitant for Three Dark Crowns and thought the pacing was really slow, would definitely check out this book. It did one of the coolest twists I've ever seen in a book. I really liked it. I love the girl power in this novel. I thought it was so well done, and I was creeped the fuck out throughout the entire book. So I was really creeped out. But it was really good. I was really impressed by it. I loved the strong female dynamics in this story, and I loved what happened to the sisters. I thought it was really well done, and I'm excited to see where the story goes in the future. Definitely gave it 5 stars. I would highly recommend that you guys go read this. And give if you were not the biggest fan of Three Dark Crowns or didn't finish Three Dark Crowns, hint, Justin. Really, I recommend that you reread it or finish it and then read this book because I think that it definitely upped the game level. And I really can't tell you who my favorite queen is. I really do like Arsino and I really do like Mirabelle. I do have some feelings about Catherine, but if you guys want me to do a spoiler discussion about this book, just comment below and I'll do it. But I really liked it and I gave it 5 stars. A troublesome query, so I kind of put a call out to my friend Marissa, and Owl Crate had just come for the month of September, so I decided to read Before She Ignites by Jodi Meadows. I really love this book. I gave this book 5 stars. It was super amazing and super fantastic. I have never read anything by Jodi Meadows before, but it basically follows this girl named Mira, and she lives in this society where she was born on the day that this treaty was crafted. But when she on this time there's preserves for dragons, and she's really infatuated with them. But when she finds out a dark secret about the dragons on this island, she gets thrust into jail. It happens in the first 3 or 4 chapters of this book, and it's her path of discovery and also finding out what happened to these dragons, but also on the path of self-discovery. I really love this book. I thought that I really liked the present story that we got and the past story that we got, and also the characters that we met. I thought that she was just such a fun character to read about, and I was gripped from page 1. I loved the dragon elements of the story, and I just was really intrigued by it, and I loved it. This is the Owl Crate exclusive cover as well, but oh my god, I don't think I can have enough positive things about this. I'm definitely hopefully going to get this signed to me at New York City Comic Con. I'm going to bring it with me if I can, because I really love this book. But it was so well done, and I really want to read more stuff by Jodi Meadows because I've heard her other series are really good. But if you have not picked up Before She Ignites, I highly recommend it. Yeah, so 5-star review. Go check out my review. It's on my blog as well. But yeah, so this is my thoughts on Before She Ignites by Jodi Meadows. Very good read. This was a book that I had to read for review, and it is Kitty Hawk and the Curse of the Yukon Gold. I will say that this book really intrigued me because you could I definitely reads to me as like a middle grade novel, but the character in it is like an adult, so that was like an interesting structure choice. The chapters are ridiculously short. There are also pictures in here accenting the story, but it's definitely geared towards not only being like a fun mystery, but also like an educational teaching tool because you learn a lot about the gold rush. It was a fun read. I think I just I gave it like 3.5 stars. It did drag at points, but I think that was just because of the exposition that you had to give to teach the kids about the gold rush. So that made the story a little bit flat for me at points, but I definitely want to read book 2 and 3, which I got for review from the publisher, so I will definitely add that to my TBR for the next couple of months. But overall, I gave it 3.5 stars, and I really enjoyed it. If you have younger kids, I think that they would really like it because they could learn about the gold rush as well. So the story did fall a little bit flat for me at points, but overall I did enjoy it. So Boston Teen Book Festival, I started reading 27 Hours, which is a book that I got from Entangled Teen, and I really did like it. But on the car ride home from Boston Teen Book Festival, I got so sick with the car ride and just doing like a 10-hour road trip that I needed to read something that wasn't fantasy, which is what 27 Hours is. So I wound up picking I Tell You I Love You, But Then I'd Have to Kill You by Allie Carter, which is the first Gallagher Girls novel. Now, I will say this, knowing that book 2 is a little bit different. This was not my favorite Allie Carter book. I really love the Heist Society, and I really did enjoy the All Fall Down series. But this first book, I really struggled with because I felt like I really liked the setting, and I thought the character could be really, really interesting. But the focus on her male love interest throughout the entire novel really was the heart of this novel, and it just annoyed me. I was like, why can't this book move past this? And I wanted the story to move more and do more. And I'm sure that it does happen in book 2 and 3, but book 1 just fell a little bit flat for me. And I wanted the strong female characters that I found in the High Society and in All Fall Down. And she just wasn't there yet. She was very boy crazy, and that is not a character I like to read about. But I love the school, and I love the dynamics, and I love the way that the story was written. I love, like, the random, like, observational reports, like, oh, this is what happens when you're a girl in this situation, and this is what happens when you're a spy in this situation. So that was really cool. I'm definitely excited to read book 2, the subsequent books in this series, because I know that there's more of, like, a heart and more of a deeper story here, and I just want to know more. The world is really, really cool. I just was not that impressed with book 1, but I'm definitely going to continue reading. And then after that one, I went back to 27 Hours. So I'm in the middle of it. I have like 20% left of this book, so this will probably be the next review that I post. But yeah, those are all the books that I read in the month of September. I will admit this week was really difficult because I just did not feel well. But I really did enjoy all the books that I read. I'm so excited for New York City Comic Con next week, and I will have a ton of books to share with you, I am sure. But let me know what is the top book that you read this month in the comments, or go post on my blog what book you think I should read next month, and I'll talk to you guys later.